Hi there, I'm Andrea Koppel, and it's Time for Coffee, the podcast where you get to hear firsthand what the jobs and careers that interest you the most are really like. Hey there, Java junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career double shot K-Cup with my guest, Justin Nguyen. As I was preparing for this interview, I did spend a lot of time binging on episodes of Declassified College and really enjoyed the episodes. And I know, because I come from a media background myself, it takes a lot of time and effort to do the really careful editing that you do. And I think maybe it was just in one season, maybe it's been in more than one season, but that you've brought on multiple guests and kind of pulled clips from their interviews, highlighting what you see as being their most important points. Your tagline is something like another day, another cheat code. For those of our listeners who may not be familiar with cheat codes, what are they?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I played a lot of video games. And back in the day, and I say back in the day, but when I was growing up, pretty much every video game had cheat codes. And what cheat codes are is you would essentially type in a code or a series of letter button pressing and things like that. And then something would happen on the video game that would allow you to win easier. And the game that's notorious for this, and it's still sort of the same way today, is Grand Theft Auto. And it's almost impossible to win the game without cheat codes. So for anyone out there who knows Grand Theft Auto, try playing that without cheat codes and you'll totally understand where that comes from. And I keep that same mentality with life, where I feel like life is sort of like a game and there are certain cheat codes that other people know that you might not know. And that's why I bring on the different perspectives, because everyone has sort of a different walk of life and they've been told something a little bit different. And you can use that knowledge that we share in our podcast to implement it into your own life if you've never heard of that sort of stat before. For instance, we've had on one of my good friends, Ben Fields, and he talked about how he basically was able to travel to like 20 or 30 countries while he was still in school by using the school's dime. And he found ways to use research grants and all of these little different things from the bursar's office that people like myself, I never even heard of.
Yeah.
But when I heard of him, I was like, oh, wow, like that makes sense, because his whole thing is there's money out there. You just need to know the right people to talk to get that money from the college student perspective. That
is so cool. So he literally traveled to 20 countries and he didn't have to pay for it?
Yeah, so he's an absolute rock star. So he had the whole sort of scheme down. He would go out and he would make sure that he would get a research grant to go travel to Asia or Europe or Africa or somewhere, wherever he wanted to go. And what he would do is he knew that the money wouldn't hit his account until about 4 or 5 weeks into the actual research project.
Mm-hmm.
So he would put everything on a credit card because he knew he would have the money to pay it back. And the credit cards that he would get would have a 0 interest rate for like the first year. So he would be fine on the interest side. And then he would leave a week or two before because he got to book his own flights. So he basically would have a week or two free that he would be able to hop to different sort of countries. And then he would go and do his research project for a month, a week, whatever it was, and then stay for an extra week or so and put it all on the credit card, so that by the time that he came back to the States, he just got essentially a round trip to wherever it was and traveled to like 10 countries for like $500.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to Time for Coffee, where the professionals in the jobs that most interest you always have time to grab coffee, 24/7, no matter where you live. I have one quick favor to ask you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Time for Coffee. Thanks so much.